Hey class, we're here with part 2 for 2.4, and for this one we're also going to be talking about 2.8. They also complement each other, so population dynamics 2.4 as well as 2.8, women and demographic change. So we're going to be building on what we talked about last last objective, factors that account for contemporary and historical trends in population growth and decline. So we're also going to be looking at how the changing role of females has demographic consequences in different parts of the world. So that includes social values changing, as well as access to education, employment, other opportunities for women, access to healthcare that has also influenced demographic changes. And then also changing roles of females and how that's influenced different patterns in fertility and childbearing. So looking at historical trends in population growth and decline. So for most of history, population has been really low. If you look at this, very low, generally stable. And then around 1750, we had the agricultural revolution, industrial revolution, rapid urbanization, and far better healthcare and sanitation, all kind of like happen at once, and then boom, lots of population growth. The first time that we reached 1 billion population was in 1804, which is not too long ago, and now we're at 8 billion. So doubling time has only decreased, and our population has, like, check this out, like grown so quickly. So contemporary trends in population growth and decline. Most population growth today is happening in less developed countries, most notably Asia and Africa. So if we take a look at these two countries here, one that's considered less developed, one considered more developed, this is very different rates, 3.8 for Nigeria and 0.11 for Spain. So just as an example. So let's take a look at economic factors of population growth. So first, population growth means high total fertility rate, high crude birth rate, or high life expectancy, or a combination of those, along with low crude death rate and low infant mortality rate. So in essence, lots more people for a lot longer, and then less people passing away, right? So population growth. So in agricultural societies, children are typically needed to help with the farm. So the tendency was to have larger families. Also, advancements in food production and nutrition helped to support larger populations. So once agriculture became mechanized, it made it a lot easier to grow more food to support more population, a lot more efficient farms. Advancements in sanitation is also another big factor for population growth. Less water contamination, less disease. We talked about cholera and cholera outbreaks in the last unit. So way less instances of that happening. Water treatment plants, so then that's far more available to have clean and safe drinking water. And then garbage pickup and other sanitation services makes a huge difference and lets people stay healthy, right? If our environment is clean, it's a lot easier to stay healthy. Economic prosperity is another reason behind population growth. And then also access to healthcare. This is a huge one. People are living a lot longer. Core countries especially provide better healthcare services, so to prevent and cure disease, so people just live a lot longer. And then also women have access to pre and postnatal care, so the chances of them having a fatal childbirth or pregnancy is way less likely now than before. So in terms of populations decline when we have a crude death rate, when we have a high crude death rate and high infant mortality rate, or when we have a low total fertility rate, crude birth rate, or life expectancy. So population decline in an industrial and post-industrial society. So as in today, women are more involved in the workforce and in other opportunities. So they're not having nearly as many children, and in some cases, not at all. They have a different options in society now than just to be child rearing. Urbanization also has caused a lot smaller living quarters, a lot more expensive living quarters. So it's more difficult to have a larger family. It's more expensive. Also, economic hardship, as I just said, like kids are expensive. You need to be able to buy food and resources for them and yourself. So that has also led to population decline. And then access to healthcare has also led to population decline in that women now have contraceptives far more available in a way that has never happened before, right? So as countries are developing, that healthcare and access to contraceptives and family planning allows women to have far more choice and control as to when they have children and how many children they have. So social factors. So first, let's look at population growth. So population growth, contributing factors that are social include religion. So in traditional cultures, big families are very much encouraged. Also, some religions restrict contraceptives, which means that women will become pregnant at higher rates, and then also restricting abortion. So if an unwanted pregnancy occurs, then for people of particular religions, abortion is not an option. And then also in more religious societies, there's earlier marriages, which means that more children. If a woman gets married at a younger age, then that's far more childbearing years that they have if they get started young. And then in terms of population decline, socially, role of women in education and workforce. So this we see happening in more developed countries where more women are entering the workforce and are more career oriented than before. They have more educational opportunities as well. So they decide to postpone having children, which means that they have far less childbearing years, which means that they have less children. And then also in terms of population decline, healthcare. So how to care for babies, that knowledge being more widely available and having that kind of healthcare available has led to far lower infant mortality rates, crew death rates, and it also has led to higher life expectancies. And then also access and understanding of contraception has led to lower total fertility rates. All right, and political. So for population growth, we have something called pro-natalist population policies, or AKA the government wants families to grow. So they try to provide incentives to have children. Another political reason would be the shift from wartime to peacetime. That's caused something called the baby boom, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a second. Population decline, that is political. Antinatalist population policies. So the government will discourage people from having children and disincentivizes having children. War is another political reason why populations may decline. Higher mortality rate, an increase in migration, and then also supplies might be short. So coming back to this idea of the baby boom or baby booms, this is a very obvious thing that happened here. Right here, you can see it on this population pyramid of the US. At the end of World War II, there was a lot of economic prosperity. All these soldiers came back from war to their wives or girlfriends, or they did meet their wife or girlfriend shortly after. The GI Bill gave them the ability to go to college, very cheap or free, and then also gave them good mortgage rates to buy a nice house. So then you have the baby boom. Look, immediately, there goes Addie again. So this is where we have like that generation called boomers, because they were born right after World War II, and there was that baby boom. The cultural expectation of that time was for women to be at home with their kids and to raise families. So we see that as a social trend here. And then also environmental or natural causes that we see of population growth, not so much, but more so of decline. Natural disasters definitely cause population decline, famine and drought, as well as spread of disease. So one example has to do with Europe from the bubonic plague, where 60% of their population died. And that's it for 2.4, and I will see you guys in 2.5.